My journals are about a gangster who lived in the 20s and the 30s named Johnny Mistretta. I chose this topic because I was interested in the world of crime during this area, as well as the development of the FBI. Uh, Both of these groups went through a lot of changes during the 20s and the 30s. For example, gangsters were first glorified by the American public, especially in Hollywood, where there were various movies that portrayed the might of the American gangster. And the FBI, it developed through this era, so it was created early on as the Bureau of Investigation, which then changed to the Division of Investigation, and then finally the Federal Bureau of Investigation. So my character, Johnny Mistretta, he really experiences a lot of ups and downs during his life that relate a lot to the American public at the time. For example, in the 20s, his group is flourishing during the era of Prohibition. They're making a lot of money, such as the American people who are living luxurious lifestyles. But then when the Great Depression hits, everything starts to turn sour, as does the lives of simple American people. Mistretta starts off as just a regular mobster, and then over time, actually as bad events unfold, he starts to rise up through the ranks. This occurs when his boss is captured by the FBI. And also, Mistretta was a war veteran from the First World War. And he was very, very angry at the government and how they treated the veterans, and they refused to give them benefits. This also translates into his hatred for any government organizations, such as the Bureau of Investigation. A more lighthearted fun fact, his name actually originates from one of my cousins, whose name is John Mistretta. And as I was thinking of various names that I could call my character, when this came to mind, I thought it was a pretty good basic Italian name that would work well with mobsters during this time. When I was creating the story, I encountered the problem of finding out how the invasion of Poland relates to my character. So what I did, instead of directly relating it to Mistretta, I decided to just take the stress of the world and what they were feeling at the time and just translate it on to my character. One of the things I enjoyed in this journal project is just the pure creative process of it and forming the story and this character instead of writing something about my own life. I enjoyed making something. And now for an excerpt from Luke's journal project. This is my second journal entry. This takes place on January 5th, 1924. The AP Lang topic for this is, what have you done to earn money? When will we know that we have enough? When we obtain a home? When we find a family? When we are millionaires? When we are billionaires? I am not entirely sure that that day will arrive, because I can never have enough to give my family. Every night, as I kiss my daughter, I find that my love for her continues to grow, and I want the world for her. I worry that our home is too small for her, and our clothes are not elegant enough, so I will work longer and harder in order to give her all she could ever desire. Prohibition has resulted in good business. The boss man has flipped this group on its head since Volstead came and turned us into a pure bootlegging operation. Past loan sharking and two-bit robberies gave us mere pennies in comparison to our current profit. The people liked their booze and clearly were not willing to give it up because of a signed piece of paper kept in Washington. I, however, am sure not to touch any sort of liquor because I have seen respectable men squander their earnings night after night and then return to a broken home. The ladies from the Temperance Society call it the devil's poison, and in the hands of an empty man, it can fill him up with more sorrows that leave a larger cavern in his soul than when he was sober. Nevertheless, I do not get attached to the buyers, only the money they give back. Feeding poison to reckless partiers and poor souls is worth what it gives in return.